Hello YouTube, this is Amazon here, bringing you the last of the Wargame European Escalation archives, where I'm taking you through the various units of Wargame and giving you a brief summary of the situation to use them in and whether you should unlock them or not. Okay, so in this final episode we'll be doing the infantry of NATO. And we'll start off with the REP French recon squads. So they only have a submachine gun of the Mat 49, so this is a pretty bad weapon, so they won't do very well in infantry on infantry combat. They'll almost certainly lose unless they have a clear numbers advantage. Their anti-tank grenade is actually quite a good one if you look at it. Its range is low compared to others' bazookas, but it has a good amount of AP power and it's got enough rounds. And the concussion grenade as well. It's very accurate, so could help them a bit, but overall wouldn't hold any hopes. And they've got very good optics as well, which is quite impressive. So yeah, these guys are probably the cheapest recon infantry you can get. So these are quite good for spotting an enemy that's using ATKMs, where your recon vehicles would be destroyed by them if they got into seeing them or just doing a bit of spotting. Also, their good AT frags might make them quite good for little ambush of units in the rear. And so let's have a look at the vehicles they've got. So first of all, they've got the VAB, standard French carrying vehicle, lightly armed with a Browning, and it only has one frontal armor, but it's very fast and it can go very far. So it's good for sort of carrying infantry deep into the battle, but not in around the flanks. You can also equip them with the Puma helicopter and the slightly better Puma, the H variant, which gives you a bit of extra speed. So yeah, these are good for dropping behind enemy lines and quietly spotting stuff, and they're decent at ambushing if you can get close to it. But if any infantry will probably take them out. Then you can upgrade to their better variant, the Recon FAMAS. These guys are equipped with a French FAMAS rifle, quite a good rifle, good accuracy. They don't have too much ammunition for it, so supplies could be a problem if using them behind enemy lines. But their weapon is upgraded to the LRAC bazooka, so it's got a better range than the grenades of 701 meters. Is more accurate and boasts AP power of 11 rather than 10. However, they only carry 6 of them compared to 8, so the grenades will do more damage overall, but their bazooka will do more sort of damage at range, and they keep their concussion grenades. I think that's the only difference between them. So the regular RPs cost 25, so you're paying an extra 5 more for some better infantry fighting capabilities and a bazooka. I'd probably say that's a good deal, and they come in the same range of vehicles of the VAB and the Puma. Now we've got the American ATKM Dragon teams. They've got the sort of standard American M16 rifle. This is probably average. Gives them a decent infantry fighting capability, but they can be outranked by better units for packed. They're equipped with the Dragon ATKM. It's quite a basic one because they only cost 15, so you're not expecting a lot. It's got a good damage of 10, but they only have 6 missiles, and the range is quite poor. Some of the better pack tanks have a gun that could equal this range, and they have a sort of standard frag grenade. So yeah, overall this is a cheap anti-tank unit, very cheap at 15, but just remember the accuracy is low, so you might need to pay a bit more to make sure they're vetted enough that it will hit. There are transport options, being from the USA, are numerous. You've got the M113 upgraded to the M113A3, so you get better speed and range. You can also get them with the Bradley. This is a pretty expensive option because you're now paying 60 for them, and they're a bad unit, but the Bradley is a good vehicle. It's actually quite ironic that its ATKM is better than the infantry it's carrying. So you can go for the sort of cheap transport that you can spend a bit more to get it going a bit faster. You can also get them in the Huey as well, upgrade it of course to the Blackhawk. I'm not really sure if you'd use this keep it infantry in helicopters. I guess the Hueys keep enough and fast enough I could carry them behind enemy lines, I guess. Could be a decent enough ambush unit, I guess. I mean, it's got enough damage, and you know, if they capture a few enemy supply trucks, they might have enough missiles to use in trial and error attacks. Who knows? But basically, they're sort of keep infantry. Now you can upgrade them to the 80 km Dragon. These guys are the Dragon 2 missile, and that's compared to the basic one. As you can see, slightly more damage and slightly more accuracy. So quite a a slight improvement for a 5-point for a 5-point extras. Apart from that, there's no difference between them, and they have the same range of transport options available to them. I'd probably go for the Dragon 2 personally, because you know 20 still or 15 to buy the infantry is still pretty cheap compared to the 10 you're paying for the basic dragons. So I'd probably spend an extra 5 more just so I have a bit more accuracy, and the increase in power is a nice touch as well. Then we've got the 80 km Milan French infantry. Now these guys are a bit more expensive again at 20, but as you can see, their Milan F1 is a better weapon. It has a better range and does more damage than the Dragon 2. Apart from that, however, you are paying for it in a bit in the fact that their weapons are less accurate and hold a lot less ammunition. So these guys will be quite bad. Infantry fighters, you're mostly paying for the Milan squad. So I guess these guys aren't too good because their rifles aren't as good, and you're paying, and the Milan is a bit better, but then it costs a bit more as well. So the Dragon 2s are probably more cost effective. The F1 have quite a narrow range of vehicles. You can either buy them with the VAB or the sort of AMX 10P with the autocannon, and you can't combine the two. You have to buy them separately, taking up 2 slots, which is important. Or you could go for the 80 km Milan F2. So let's have a look at these guys. Their rifles are a lot more accurate and hold the same amount of ammo. More ammo indeed than the Dragon 2 teams, and they're more accurate. So when you pay an extra 5 for the 80 km Milan F2, you're getting a better assault rifle than the American 80 kms. So they'll be better infantry on infantry, and their 80 km is quite a bit better, but now it's got 6 accuracy and 15 damage. So this is a pretty damaging 80 km. And they again have the VAB and AMX options available to them. So overall, the French 80 kms are more expensive than the American ones, but they're better. Because remember, the Milan I probably wouldn't go for the Milan F1s just because they're got a really poor rifle. I'd probably just stick with the Milan F2s and maybe the 80 km Dragoon 1s if you want to mix up your 80 kms. Let's see, now we've got the BGS West German reconnaissance squads. Got very good optics, and they only cost 15. Although they only have the basic armored personnel carriers, which is quite slow. They don't have any faster options available to them. And although their assault rifle is quite good, it's quite accurate. It doesn't have that much ammunition, but they probably do the job quite well. They've also got the sort of combination of AT and frag grenades that the sort of French recon have. I'm not sure. The German recon is cheaper, but it's a lot slower. I'd probably go with the French in this one, just because for sort of infantry recon, you can't have it in a battle because it's just too vulnerable, and its weapons don't have any range. So you sort of need it to be fast, and they don't have a fast vehicle option. But it is cheap, so if you need some good outpost infantry, these guys are probably the best. Then we've got the basic French rifle squad, the Chasseurs. These guys only cost 5 for the infantry. Although you can sort of tell why, because it looks like they've got a bolt action rifle, which means these guys, they're a rifle squad, but they're going to lose to pretty much any other rifle squad, or even basic enemy infantry. Although they do have that Sarpak rocket launcher. It's good damage, not bad accuracy, and 6 rockets. They've also got the frag grenades, so these guys are pretty much quite cheap. They're probably best used as a sort of a weapon to throw at the enemy. These guys, don't expect too much out of these guys. They'd already be a decent ambush unit, and they've got the VAB, so they could get behind enemy lines with a bit of patience to do some ambushing. But as again with the recon squad, these guys are going to die fairly quick. Well, they have a better. They have a better class of vehicles. Because they got the VAB, the AMX, and the Puma, rather than the recon squad. They didn't have the AMX. Something to note. Then you've got the Sociers from FAMAS. Now these are sort of upgrade on the rifle squad. Similar to how the REP went to the REP from FAMAS. You got the Sociers. The Sociers from FAMAS. They've got the FAMAS rifle. These are a very good infantry unit. They only cost 10, which is pretty cheap when you think about it. Their FAMAS rifle lets them hold their own, and with the 2,400 rounds you get, these guys can fight for quite a bit. They've also got the LRAC bazooka, which is a pretty good one. These grenades will do a fair amount of job as well. They've got 8 of them, and they're fairly accurate with them. So these guys are actually pretty much the best NATO rifle squad you can get. Just because they've got this really powerful bazooka that can do a lot of damage to packed tanks. Although I think their production numbers might be limited a bit, and I guess as the Sociers, they have the same variety of vehicles: the VAB, the AMX, and the Puma. Then we've got some airborne forces, so Delta Force. Now these are pretty expensive unit at 30, and they can only ever be transported in helicopters, so these guys cost a lot. But their equipment is some of the best in NATO. They've got the 10 accuracy, HE power 3, 2,400 round Car 15, so it's an upgrade on the M16. They've also got the Carl Gustav rifle, very accurate, standard range, good AP power of 12, 6 rockets, and they've got the concussion grenade as well. So these guys are probably the best. If the Sociers from FAMAS are the most cost-effective infantry, the Delta Force are among the best one-to-one infantry. Transport, they've got the Huey and the Blackhawk, as well as the Chinook, if you want them. I'm not really sure what the Chinook's got going for it, apart from the fact it can carry them a lot further. So you'd use the Chinook if you want to get them really far behind enemy lines, and the Blackhawk if you want to get them there fast, I guess. But yeah, these are sort of the ultimate one-to-one infantry units. They'd still use the Spetsnaz, but they'd decimate any other infantry unit, and they are a very good ambushing one as well. Then we've got the Fernsnapper, the German special forces. They can be carried in the Fuchs, which is the very speedy transport, 105 kilometers an hour, very nice indeed. Or the Dornier 205 transport helicopter. That's, it's quite slow for a helicopter, but it's still quite, it's faster than the Fuchs, but it costs twice as much. For them, they've got the Key 3 assault rifles, the sort of standard rifle of the Germans. Although it does look like they've got a bit of an upgrade on accuracy and HE power, so they're still better than regular German infantry, so I think they'll do quite well against most packed infantry. They've got the AT frag. This is again a very close quarters frag. It can that's the thing. These frags, they do more damage. Actually, no, they do slightly less damage than the bazooka, but they can carry more ammunition, so they can do more damage over time without supplying. But their range is reduced, so you have to get a lot closer to the enemy to throw them. They've also got the sort of another frag grenade as well. So yeah, these guys are quite good. Very mobile, I'd say. That's their big advantage. They have 2 fairly mobile transport options open to them. But they're a competent unit, I'd say.